Have you ever noticed how the moment a woman truly knows she can't have you anymore, everything changes? It's subtle at first, almost invisible, like a shadow creeping over a familiar room. But once you pay attention, you see it everywhere. Her tone, her gestures, the way she frames her words. This is not the same woman who chased you, flirted with intensity, or demanded your attention. This is the woman who realizes she has lost control. And the truth is, she hates it. She can't admit it aloud because admitting loss makes her feel weak, exposed, and vulnerable, and vulnerability is the one thing she is trained to avoid in the battlefield of attraction. When she knows she has truly lost you, she stops trying to impress you. She stops pretending to be interested in your hobbies, your day, your ambitions. The smile that once came so easily, it falters. The compliments she used to throw like coins in a fountain, they dry up. You'll notice a cold clarity in her eyes, a subtle weight behind her words, as if she's calculating every syllable before it escapes. This is the shift from "I want you" to "I can't have you," and it is a transformation that feels like an earthquake if you're the kind of man who has been emotionally invested. And here's the part most men miss. This is when you see her true emotional blueprint. Women, like everyone, have a hierarchy of emotional responses, and losing someone they wanted intensely triggers primal instincts. Some will withdraw completely, vanish without explanation, leaving you confused but strangely empowered. Others, the more cunning types, will escalate, mocking, provoking, testing boundaries, seeing if there's any spark left they can reignite. The cruel paradox is that both behaviors, withdrawal and escalation, stem from the same root: fear of total rejection and the ache of loss. You feel the tension, even if she's trying to mask it with sarcasm, indifference, or feigned amusement. What most men fail to grasp is that she's no longer operating from desire. She's operating from confrontation with reality. She's seeing herself reflected back in a world where she doesn't have your attention, your time, your validation. And that mirror doesn't lie. Some women lash out, some retreat, but every action is saturated with the truth she cannot admit. She wanted you, she lost you, and she knows she can never have you again. You're not imagining this shift, you're witnessing it. And this is exactly the point where most men get pulled back into the game, because seeing someone you once desired react differently triggers ego, curiosity, even a dangerous sense of, maybe I can still fix this. That urge is exactly what she wants you to feel. And yet, the reality is, she has crossed a line you cannot walk back across. She is no longer yours, and every subtle interaction from here is a test, a reflection of a truth most men never truly internalize. Once she knows she has lost you, she cannot go back to who she was with you, and neither can you. Now let's talk about what happens to her behavior once the reality of loss sets in. It's almost like watching a storm in slow motion. She starts testing boundaries, but not like she used to when she wanted to impress you. This isn't playful teasing or flirtation anymore. Every word, every look, every touch or lack of touch is calculated. She wants to measure the distance between you and her, to see if any part of you can still be claimed, and if not, to feel the sting of that absence more vividly. It's fascinating, because the very thing she once could manipulate effortlessly, the attention, the desire, the emotional investment from you, now exists just out of reach, and it changes everything about her. Notice how she uses subtle psychological tactics without even realizing she's doing it. A lingering gaze that feels like a question, a tone of voice that challenges you, yet simultaneously tries to remind you of the connection you once had. A sudden withdrawal when she knows you notice it, forcing you to chase what's no longer hers to give. Some women escalate with jealousy, subtly showing that others are interested in them, because nothing triggers the primal fear of loss faster than watching someone you desired now entertain the attention of other men. Every gesture, every word, becomes a mirror reflecting the void she feels. And men, most men, don't just watch this, they react. That reaction is exactly the feedback she didn't have before, and it feeds the fire inside her. And here's the harsh truth that most men never hear. This is the point where your frame matters more than ever. If you waver, if you try to reclaim her with old tactics, compliments, emotional explanations, promises, you fall into the trap of chasing what is gone. She feels the desperation, and that changes everything. Your value, once undeniable, suddenly becomes negotiable in her eyes if you betray your own independence. The most powerful move? Silence, consistency, living fully without her. Because when she sees you thriving despite the loss, when she witnesses the life she can no longer touch, that's when the truth hits her the hardest. And it's devastating. You might notice a strange mix of emotions from her: admiration, frustration, regret, even subtle attempts to provoke guilt. She doesn't always understand why she feels this way. It's biology and psychology combined, but the effect is unmistakable. This is not about love anymore. This is about ego, pride, and the unconscious acknowledgement that she underestimated the depth of your presence in her life. She lost something rare, and no amount of words can rewrite that reality. So, what do you do when faced with this reality? You don't react emotionally. You don't chase. You don't attempt to explain or negotiate her feelings. You simply exist fully, with the confidence and independence that she can no longer influence. Because the moment she sees your life continue without her, the moment she realizes she cannot pull you back, that's when the shift becomes irreversible, and that's when the power dynamics completely realign in your favor. By now, you've probably noticed the subtle shift in her energy. It's not just her words or actions, it's her entire emotional signature that changes. When a woman truly knows she's lost you, she starts showing signs of what psychologists call reactive attachment behavior. She's processing the reality that you're no longer hers, and this creates a tension that's impossible to hide completely. Some men interpret this as anger, some as indifference, and some as lingering desire. But in truth, it's a mixture of regret, fear, and a primal recognition that she let something irreplaceable slip away. You'll see it in small ways. The laughter that used to come easily now feels forced. Messages that once flowed naturally become sporadic, deliberate, almost like she's trying to measure her impact with every word. Social media behavior shifts subtly but noticeably. She posts moments meant to provoke a reaction, not to share her life. She may comment indirectly, like she's testing the waters to see if you're still emotionally invested, or she might disappear entirely, leaving you guessing. Both behaviors are designed to gauge your response, even if she doesn't consciously realize it. The deeper truth is that the woman who once sought validation from you now wrestles with the absence of it, and that absence feels like a wound she cannot heal quickly. Some women escalate into a more dramatic mode. They may show passive-aggressive behavior, use subtle manipulations, or even attempt to make you jealous. These are not signs that she still has control over you. They are signs that she feels the loss in ways she cannot fully articulate. Men often misread these behaviors as signals to act, to pursue, to win her back. But here's the harsh reality. The moment she knows she cannot get you, nothing you do can restore her previous influence. Every attempt to reclaim what is gone only validates the power of her absence in your life. You're no longer a player in her game, she's the one reacting to you, not the other way around. And this is where the psychological mastery comes in for you. Observing without reacting, noticing without chasing, and living fully without her involvement creates a profound shift. Her loss becomes tangible the moment she realizes your stability, your independence, and your emotional control are untouchable. It's a paradox she can't solve. She wanted power over your attention, but now she sees that power was never hers to claim. Your value shines brighter because it's no longer contingent on her presence. And that clarity, silent, unwavering, unshakable, affects her more deeply than any argument, confession, or confrontation ever could. The truth is brutal but liberating. Once a woman knows she's lost you for good, her behavior is never about love. It's about coping with absence, ego, and the realization that she underestimated the weight of what she let go. And you don't chase, you don't beg, you don't explain. You continue building your life, your dominance, and your presence. That is how you win, not by reclaiming her, but by becoming the undeniable truth she cannot ignore, even when she pretends to. Now let's confront the reality few men understand. When a woman knows she has truly lost you, everything she does from that moment on is a reflection of her inability to reclaim what once belonged to her imagination of you. She may smile, joke, tease, but it's different. There's a sharpness, a subtle edge you didn't notice before because every interaction is now filtered through the lens of absence. The woman who once sought your attention desperately now measures it like a precious commodity she can no longer access. And every glance, every word, every movement is unconsciously trying to reconcile the truth. She underestimated your value, and now she feels the emptiness of her miscalculation. You will notice the small provocations. She may comment on your social media, show subtle jealousy, or mention other men she's met as if testing your reaction. But here's the truth most men overlook. These aren't signs of lingering desire. They're signs of disorientation. She's trying to process what she cannot control, and in doing so, she exposes a deep vulnerability she will never admit. The power dynamic has shifted entirely, and the realization hits her with a quiet, almost invisible force. She cannot get you back, no matter how clever, beautiful, or persuasive she thinks she is. That's the moment where men either rise above or fall back into old patterns. And make no mistake, this is a rare opportunity for you to solidify your own power. Most men, when faced with subtle manipulations or emotional tests, react emotionally. They apologize, explain, or chase. They fall into the trap of trying to reclaim what was never theirs to control. But you, the man who understands this, does something entirely different. You observe. You maintain your frame. You continue building your life, your success, your independence, and your emotional dominance. Your value is now undeniable because it exists outside her influence. She can no longer shape it, and that truth will sting more than any words or confrontations ever could. Here's the final truth. When a woman knows she has lost you, she experiences a mixture of regret, pride, and fear, all wrapped in unconscious behaviors designed to test, provoke, and sometimes punish. But none of it can pull you back. That's the moment where you step into a new reality. You are no longer in her orbit emotionally. You exist independently. You are untouchable in the way she cannot comprehend. And in that space, you don't just survive, you thrive. Now, I want you to think about this. If a man values himself at 100 and a woman's attention can never exceed 40 when she has truly lost him, how much power does she actually have over his life? Write your answer in the comments. And if this video opened your eyes to truths most men never see, like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this.